Hey, did you guys check out that trailer for the new movie 28 Years Later? It's actually pretty crazy. There was the movie 28 Days Later, where this virus broke out, and then everyone essentially turned into zombies because of an escaped virus. Then the sequel was 28 Weeks Later. And now this year, decades later, they're coming out with 28 Years Later. And you may think that's what that movie still is from right there. That's not actually from 28 Years Later. That's actually from my bedroom earlier this week because I had the virus that started 28 Days Later. That's how sick I was this week. That's where I was. That's why there have been no videos. And thank you so much to everybody who cared so much to type in all caps, "Where are my sniffs?" opposed to "How are you doing?" But did I expect anything else from this carless group of individuals who pirate and pillage these videos on a daily basis? Absolutely not. You guys would have sent me right into that lab with the worst virus. You honestly, I truly believe if you could have clicked a button that said, "I have one good night of bets, but Andy is even more deathly ill, borderline, has to go to the hospital." Hey, look, if you're going to be cutthroat with me, I'm going to come right out of my coma and be cutthroat with you. Think I want to end up like Killian over there? By the way, you know I'm going to be one of those people who I even mentioned this recently. I'm going to be one of those people who's like, "Oh my God, I'll do anything. I'll never take for granted the health. I'm going to go outside, and even on a cold winter day, it's like, the air, I can enjoy the air." And in 2 weeks, I'm going to be livid about the most trivial matters, like getting screwed on an under on half of a point on an empty netter. Another Chucky bet like Marchessault is going to come to screw me. I guess we'll see how long I appreciate my health, even though I'm not fully there quite yet. But in this Thursday night football game, we got Shanahan and the 49ers and McVay and the LA Rams. Now, this is a game these last couple of seasons I always kind of have circled. I always felt like I knew how these teams tried to attack each other. But this year's a little bit different. We got two teams on the opposite sides of that mall escalator. We got the Niners, just injury after injury after injury, and I thought that was going to be the case before the year. Look, you got to pay the pipe. You can't just be going to NFC Championship, Super Bowl, NFC Champion. They paid the piper the year after that Super Bowl. No playoffs, ton of injuries, awful year, and now this is what they're having. They're having to pay that piper once again. Are they going to pay it on this Thursday night? Am I just going to walk back into these videos and just say, "Hey, look, I am not a Dan." I'm assuming the Dans would be on the LA Rams, the LA Dans, because they're obviously playing considerably better. And they, to me now, these last two seasons, they're like taking over that Bengals title of team who's like 3-5 early, and then you want nothing to do with them late in the season. And what I think the catalyst to all this is the health of that offensive line, and that's what a couple of my bets are going to be tailored around. When you look at the offensive line earlier in the year, aside from the injuries that we obviously knew to Nakua and Kupp, Stafford didn't have 2 seconds to get this ball out of his hands. Now with all these pieces back, you see him able to sit back there, scan the field, and do what he does best, by the way, intermediate to deep shots down the field, and then you saw how effective he was against the Buffalo Bills. In a game that's going to be in a relatively solid environment in terms of weather, where there shouldn't be too many conditions, it shouldn't be too different to LA, I think Stafford can thrive in this one once again. But I'm going to start with somebody on the 49ers. He took over my mantle for Demario Douglas. You know we were riding Demario Douglas. Now, the last couple of Dave and a Dan's, who have I been screaming about? I've been saying, I'm betting on Brandon Ayuk. I'm betting on, oh yeah, that's right. There is no Brandon Ayuk, a.k.a. there is a Brandon Ayuk, and his name is J.Jennings. He's running all the routes, and dare I say, he's being even more effective with them than Brandon Ayuk was being with them, at least this season. And week after week, even in that snow game where nobody could get anything going, he even hit his over in that game. So this is my next. I'm riding it till it's done. It's not like the secondary scares you too much. You saw Amari Cooper, what did he have, 8 catches last week? And you know this is their lone wide receiver who's running all these intermediate. I mean, he's running the full route tree, and the way they run the ball, it just opens up so many shots that are schemed off that run. So without further ado, I'll just give me that over on J.Jennings receiving yards. This is one I'm going to happily take, and if I lose, I'm not going to curse like you. I'm not going to complain like you. The guy just won 3 weeks in a row for me, and I think this number is good enough to make it 4 in a row. So give me the over on receiving yards for J.Jennings, and then looking back over at those Rams bets, because Stafford has this time in the pocket and he's able to put the ball deeper down the field, what I'm going to go with, it's weird. These are kind of counterintuitive bets, and it would actually make for a pretty high price parlay. But the first thing I'm going to do, and it's actually hitting, I believe, 4 of the last 5. And you might actually look, yeah, but look before that. And I think it all relates to this offensive line. Give me the under on passing attempts for Matthew Stafford. You couldn't have more of an efficient game last week against the Buffalo Bills. Look at his yards, look at his touchdowns, look how many deep shots down the field. And it resulted in fewer passing attempts. The more Matthew Stafford stays upright, the less I think he just has to keep getting it out of his hands quickly because he has to fear the defensive line coming towards him. And also that San Francisco defensive line hasn't been a shell of what it's been in previous years. So I think it bodes well for Stafford. I'm going to go under on Matthew Stafford's passing attempts, and then the counterintuitive parlay, the reverse correlation, because I think he's going to be effective and because I think he's going to be able to put it down the field. Give me the over on his passing yards with the under on his passing attempts. How can that happen? Well, I'll tell you how. The last Stafford bet that I like is the over on longest completion for Matthew Stafford. And to me, all these Stafford bets, it's contingent on that offensive line just continuing what they did last week and continuing to get better now that they are healthy. So I'm going with the over on J.Jennings and then a series of Stafford bets. One, the under on passing attempts, a little dusty same game parlay just to see if we can hit that funny little middle area. The under on passing attempts with the over on passing yards. And 3, the over on longest completion. And that's what I got for you in that Thursday night football game. Not bad, considering there's an entire NHL slate on our hands. And what I'm going to do lately in the Patreon, the way I've been posting things, I always start with, here are a couple under 6.5s I like. Here's a team that maybe I like to win. Here's a favorite line combo. I'll just kind of do it like that. I'll start with an under 6.5 that I like. This is the Winnipeg Jets and the Vegas Golden Knights. I typically have no problem trusting the Winnipeg Jets in any home game to do their job defensively. Maybe they'll lose, maybe they'll win, but I always think they're going to keep that other team to 3 or fewer. Now, last year it was guaranteed pretty much 2 or fewer. But to me, in a matchup between 2 potential playoff foes, 2 teams who are known to play defensively when necessary. I mean, we just saw this Vegas Golden Knights team win 1-0 against the Edmonton Oilers. So if they want to play that way, they can play that way, and you know Winnipeg can play that way. And if Nikolai Ehlers is still not there, and I know last game was a big outburst against the Boston Bruins, but go look at all these other games. Scoring has started to become a problem once again for the Winnipeg Jets. So if they're going to win, it's probably going to be on the back of their good goaltending and good defense, which means I think this one is staying under 6.5. But if there's an under 6.5, what else can I scrape up in there? Well, I'm looking at the Vegas Golden Knights side. How about Pavel Dorofeyev? You remember when he was up on that top line with Eichel? He was on that top power play with Eichel. Well, that's no longer the case. He's no longer on that top power play because Victor Olofsson's back. So he's getting that minimal power play 2 time, and he isn't playing with an incredible passer like Jack Eichel anymore. So what does that mean to me? That we're getting prices mostly baked from when he was with Eichel. I'm going with the under 2.5 shots on goal, a strategic under 2.5 shots on goal for Pavel Dorofeyev, because look at where he got the majority of his shots. He was playing on that off wing and just blasting one-timers as a lefty on that power play, working the opposite side of Eichel. Now that's Olofsson, so even if you take away one of those shots per game, it makes the hill a little steeper to climb for Pavel Dorofeyev. And because he's not playing with Eichel, and yes, I think William Karlsson's a fantastic player, you can see a clear dip in his production the millisecond he was taken off that top power play. So I will go with that under 2.5 shots on goal and the under 0.5 point for Pavel Dorofeyev in that game against the Winnipeg Jets. Now let's talk about a team that Look, pizzeria plays are not anything that I truly am ever excited about, but when I look at this slate and I see, you know what, there is potential there. The Montreal Canadiens with some renewed energy, some renewed vigor. You're getting them as an underdog at home against a team 2 weeks ago we're saying, oh, well, they're just going to be a lottery pick. They're one of the worst in the league. The Pittsburgh Penguins. Any team in this NHL, I promise you, can rip off 7 straight wins. It can be the Penguins, it can be the Sharks, it can be the Ducks, anybody, because that's what hockey is. But when I'm looking at a team like the Penguins, I mean, they just gave up, 6-0? We know that defense and goaltending has been an issue for them all season long. Sometimes they can outscore it, sometimes not. But we got this renewed energy and this renewed vigor ever since Patrik Laine entered the lineup for the Montreal Canadiens. It breathed some much-needed life, not just into their power play. I think he has power play goals in both of his first 2 games, but also into that second line. And I think that the Canadiens, They have the upper hand in this game. They're riding relatively high off the play of their last couple of games. They're at home once again. They're facing the Penguins coming in, and I think they'll be able to win this game. I'll take them at, plus 100, plus 105. I think that's a good deal, but you want to know what I think is a better deal? The point for J.Slafkovsky, who has some new life in that second line. You have him and Doc playing with Patrik Laine. They connected on a goal. So this is a line that has some renewed life. And also Slafkovsky on that top power play still. It's not like, yes, Doc is not on the top power play anymore. He's been demoted. But you show me Slafkovsky on that top power play, playing alongside Laine, who has goals in his first 2 games. I think this is a pretty good price. Not to mention the Laine-Slafkovsky point combo, which hit last game in a home game against the Pittsburgh Penguins defense and their goaltending. So typically I give an under, and then I give a money line, and then 1 or 2 of my favorite line combos. I just gave you that one in the Montreal game. That's more of a high-priced payout, but I'll always say this. You show me Point and Guentzel playing with Kucherov at plus money, and I think it's a steal. Like, you know how the other night you got Natchez and Aho? I know you were home, even though I wasn't making a video. I know you saw they were playing together against San Jose. You clicked both of their names. You saw minus 130, and you said, I can't do this. I don't understand why it's not the same for Guentzel and Point. I really don't. While it's not, while it's still at plus 110 or plus 115, that's an auto click for me. That's a laugher's click. The over half of a point for Braden Point and over half of a point for Jake Guentzel against the Calgary Flames. And then one last line combo auto bet for me is anytime you're getting McDavid and one of his top power play line mates at plus anything, that's an auto click. That's a Point Guentzel. It's an auto click from me. I just hate Ryan Nugent-Hopkins so much that I can't click him and get the plus 115. What I would rather do is just take McDavid and Hyman because, Hyman's starting to... I mean, I think he had a goal in the last game where he had a point and then it got overturned on an offsides or something like that. But McDavid and Hyman is plus 100 in a game against the Minnesota Wild. If you need to include Ryan Nugent-Hopkins, what I'd rather do is the 2 points for McDavid and the assist for Ryan Nugent-Hopkins, because I feel like McDavid needs 2 points to get that guy involved. He's another scam star right along there with Jason Robertson, who notice I'm not even naming on this slate. That's what I have for you in my not fully healthy, but semi-healthy return. Good luck to you. Better luck to me. Better health to me. Make sure you are subscribed here to my YouTube channel. I tried to put a post out there saying I am not feeling good, and I still got that out there for you. I was typing like I looked no different than that guy just trying to type, I am very ill. If you guys want to do me a huge favor, like I just mentioned, comment something on these videos. But if you can like and comment, that's very much appreciated. Click the notification so you know when these videos come out, and eventually I do upload more. But would be the most appreciated if you guys support this show. You are currently and have always been and continue to be until, I get one. You're the lone sponsors here, and you're the people on the Patreon. If you support the content that I make here and you want me to continue to make content, because, I was sitting out there a few days saying, it ain't too bad not having to worry about all these lines all the time. So if you guys want me to continue to do that, come over to the Patreon. There's a community of sniffers over there talking in the chats. Hopefully I will see you over there. If not, I will see you tomorrow for another round of NHL Sniffs. And yes, a Dave and a Dan. Take it easy, good luck, and I will talk to you then.